morning. Welcome back to Shroud Stories. This is another episode of Tech Tips with Uncle Kolty. We talked a lot about a lot of different things. Fins, how to turn, how to get barreled, so many different things. Today, I'm going to talk to you about what board and why. There's a lot of different surfboards out there, from fishes to mid-lengths to eggs to logs to high-performance shortboards to round tails, swallowtails, V-bottoms, single concave, multiple different fin configurations, quads, twins, tri, single. There's so many different things. So I'm going to talk to you about what I go through in trying to figure out what board I'm going to ride in what conditions we have at hand. And hopefully it'll give you some insight onto what you should pick and maybe elevate your surfing as well. So stay tuned. I'm going to go for a surf, ride my favorite board, the Alley Rat 2.0 from Timmy Patterson with a round tail. Stay tuned. Waves are kind of fun. It's kind of small, a little mushy, but got wet for the morning. Like I said, I rode my round pin Alley Rat 2.0. It was a good board, but I think there was a couple moments where I wish I had a different board. How about you come on over to my house? I'll pull out some boards and some that I maybe would have preferred, and I'll tell you why. So, see you over there. All right, welcome to the land of surfboards. Today, like I said, I rode a chippy 90s inspired thresher. It's called the Alley Rat. It's the second rendition of the Alley Rat, which is a model that me and Timmy worked together a little bit on. He kind of wanted to make a new high performance shortboard, and I did a little bit of the test riding on it and gave him some feedback, and he was able to tune it up and do some different things. He also had other people like Matt Archibald ride it and get feedback from him as well. So can't say it's entirely from me, but I did help work on it with him, which is pretty cool. It's pretty fun to be able to work with your shaper closely. It's a guy that I grew up with and I've known forever, and he's a phenomenal surfboard shaper, so I'm very fortunate to have that opportunity. Like I was saying, it's nice to have a good connection with your shaper, so if you have a local shaper at home, it's good to tell him what you do and do not like. Don't sugarcoat it. Tell him what's up straight up, and if he takes it harsh, whatever. He's a pussy. Like, tell them to get over it. 'Cause that's just how it is. Everybody has their own little things that they do and don't like. Some surfboards are like this one. You know, this is a little bit shorter. The other one would be maybe this tall. And it would also be a little bit narrower, maybe about there. And this board is better for smaller waves and mushier waves because the rocker, the curve of the surfboard, is a little bit flatter. whereas the other one's rocker is a little bit more exaggerated, maybe to here. A little bit more rocker is going to make it hook tighter in the wave, but also fight you a little bit. It's going to push back a little bit more, so it might feel a little bit more sluggish on a slower wave, whereas this one will plane a little bit better using surface tension, the surface of the water, and keep you on top of the water a little bit more. Now also, you'll notice this board has a swallowtail, whereas my other surfboard had a round tail, so it'd go out to there, let's say. Swallowtails typically are going to be a little bit wider in the tail block. It's about 12 inches up, which is probably about here. This part of the surfboard on my board that I rode today is much narrower. That being said, you're going to have much more control on a faster wave, but on a slower wave, it's going to feel sluggish because you don't have as much surface area on the back of your surfboard to actually plane on top of the water. So I think today I would have preferred this board. Now, I didn't know exactly what the waves were going to be like, so I didn't particularly know exactly what board I should ride. It's always just an educated guess. We like to try to do our best. Then you have boards like this as well. And this is a Glen Pang, shapes from Hawaii. Similar design to the other board that we just looked at. This one has a wing in it, which is this little bump right here in the tail. So you can see there's a break in the outline right here. This is a breaking point for the water, for the rail line. So you're kind of gonna like pivot on it when you're on rail. Some people like it, some people don't. Some people think it's gonna be a little bit looser typically. I like it for certain things. Also, so that board I rode today has single concave, which is when the surfboard in the middle of the board, this is deeper than the rail line. Basically what that's gonna do when you're surfing is give you like a gyro kind of feeling where you can roll from side to side really easily, kind of like a boat does in the water. It's not super drivey a lot of the times. It's kind of just like washy. You don't get a lot of like hold out of it, but it can be good in certain occasions as well. That is completely opposite of what I rode today, which would be comparable to this surfboard. Now this is an infinity surfboard that's very dirty. This board, if you look down here, you can see it has a lot of single concave. You can see through that, right? So that is what you call single concave. That's gonna be much more drivey, and it's gonna actually keep you stuck to the water very well. Now that might not be the best for mushy waves, because mushy waves, you kind of need to generate your own speed and you kind of need that roll from side to side. You need a little bit of help from your surfboard. So this would be better for maybe a steeper wave or a faster wave, which brings me into my next subject. This tail you can see here is a round pin. So when you're going really fast on a wave, wanting to control your speed, the round tail like this is going to help you slow down and actually draw arcs very easily, and it's very controlled feeling, whereas on a mushy wave it's going to feel very slow and sluggish because there's not a lot of surface area on the back of your surfboard where your back foot is, so it's sinking into the water a lot more. Whereas if you have a board like this one, this is just the opposite. It's a very, very, very wide tail box. There's a lot of surface area on the back of this surfboard right here, so it's really going to keep you afloat and keep you on top of the water and allow you to be more maneuverable without sinking too much and losing all of your speed. This board also has a very round, wide nose too, for more surface area, allow you to stay on top of the water better, yada, yada, yada. When you're riding hollow waves, typically you can ride any of these boards. They all work, they all do great things, but some allow you to do things better. If I was dropping in really late on a hollow wave, it would be really difficult to get this into the wave. You might catch it easily, but because there's so much surface area on the nose here, it's gonna wanna push out of the water and not hold as well. Whereas this nose is very narrow, so it'll knife into the wave much easier. You know, certain boards do certain things, and what I do every day is I wake up and I look at the surf. Thankfully nowadays we have surf lines, so you can do it from the comfort of your own bed. Like, okay, it looks like it might be around head high, let's say. It looks pretty mushy. So I'm like, okay, I would come in here and I'd look around at all my boards and I'd be like, I think I'm gonna ride for a mushy day and it's head high. I would probably ride this because it's mushy, so it's tough to catch the wave. This board is very thick right here in the chest area, so it's going to paddle really easily. It's also a flatter rocker, a little bit thicker, and it has the V-bottom like I was telling you as well. So it helps you move around on the mushy waves and allows you to get free movement, and it's a twin fin, so there's not a lot of drag from your fins, which can slow you down as well. But it's going to allow you to surf quickly, lively, and have more fun. Whereas if the waves are kind of barreling, maybe not quite hollow, but they're steeper and faster and more critical, maybe a little bit jumbled up, a little messy, I'd ride something like this. This is a 6'3" with channels and glassed in fixed fins. It's narrower. It's got a round pin, so it's going to keep me nice and stable on the fast waves that are critical. And it's longer, so it'll help me catch waves easy as well when the waves are a little bigger. This is a great board for big waves. Now, if it's a super small day and it was quite mushy and just kind of whatever, but I wanted to go get wet for a little bit, so I'd ride, you know, something like this maybe, and then I'd also bring something like this. And this is a Donald Brink twin fin that he shaped off of a board that I gave to him. It's called a Small Faces surfboard. If you guys know that name, good on ya. But it's basically the same thing. V-bottom, twin fin. It's going to be easy to catch waves because it's so thick and buoyant. It's a little bit longer than a fish typically would be. And it's just something fun that I could go have a good time on. There's a lot of surface area, so it's going to keep me on top of the water easily. And I think these kind of surfboards work on taking out the kinks, I guess you could call it, in your surfing, where these boards force you to kind of be slower and easier on the board, because if you turn too sharp, you're going to lose all your speed. Your board's going to pop out of the water and you're going to fall. So these boards really make you surf better in a sense, because you actually have to like work with the surfboard. You know, that's why I like to say they're not the best for big hollow barrels, because you want the surfboard to work for you. If you're thinking you want to go have some fun, try some different stuff, maybe go tell your local shaper to make you a board like the ones that I'm kind of explaining to you. And maybe it'll make you go do some different things, try some different kinds of turns. I hope you learned some things about surface area on your surfboards, why wider tails work better or worse in certain conditions, whereas same thing with pintails work better or worse in certain conditions as well. Stay tuned, everybody. Thank you for watching, and why don't you go down to Use Surf and look at some different surfboards and figure out which one you might like to try. So take care. I'll catch you guys next week.
The tides are rising.